back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making Birria de Res. This is a very popular dish that can be served as a stew or it can also be used as a taco filling. Today we're going to be making both. This takes about 3 to 4 hours to prepare, so let's gather up our ingredients and let's get started. I'm going to be going through the ingredients as we use them, but I will provide a full listing of all the ingredients at the end of this video. There's many ways of making this, but today I'm going to show you the way I make it. And for that we're going to need a full head of garlic cloves, 4 bay leaves, and half an onion. I'm going to be using 5 pounds of boneless chuck roast. Now if you can find the one with the bone, that's even better, but since my store was out, I went ahead and bought extra bones for flavor. For the sauce we're going to need 12 Chile Guajillos. These I already washed, removed the seeds and the vines. 2 Chile Anchos that are already washed as well, half an onion, and 3 garlic cloves. We're going to fill a large stock pot about 3/4 of the way with water. When you add your meat, you can either add it whole like this or you can chop it up into smaller pieces. When you chop it up, it does tend to cook a little bit faster. Now we're just going to add the onion, the whole head of garlic. Now that may seem like a lot of garlic, but it's going to give it a lot of great flavor. And of course, don't forget your 4 bay leaves. Now we're just going to add about a tablespoon of salt. Then we're going to leave it on high heat, and once it comes to a boil, we're going to turn it down to medium-high heat and we're going to let it boil for a good hour. And while we're waiting, we're going to prepare the sauce. In a separate stock pot, we're going to add about 4 cups of water. We're going to add the chiles anchos and the 12 Chile Guajillos. I'm going to have these on high heat, and as soon as it starts to boil, we're going to remove them from the burner. We're going to set them aside and we're going to wait for them to cool down. Meanwhile, we're going to check on our meat, and as you're cooking your meat, you may see a lot of this float to the top of the pot. You may choose to remove it or leave it. Some people like to leave it because it gives it more flavor. It's completely up to you if you want to leave it or take it out. Now that the peppers are nice and cool, we're going to proceed to make the sauce. We're going to transfer all the peppers into the blender along with half an onion and 3 garlic cloves. Now when you're making the sauce, you can add the seasonings directly into the blender. It's up to you, but I like to add them directly into the pot. We also added 2 cups of the water that we used to boil the peppers in. Now we're just going to blend until it's nice and smooth. Our meat has been boiling for about an hour now, and this is what it looks like so far. I added a lot of water so we can have a lot of the consomme at the end. So now that our sauce is ready, we're going to add the sauce directly into the pot. You may choose to strain it if you prefer, but since the blender did such a great job blending the peppers, we're just going to add it directly into the pot. For the sauce that's still in the blender, I'm going to add a couple spoonfuls of the broth from the pot. Then we're going to give it a few good shakes, and then we're going to add it directly into the pot. We don't want any of the sauce going to waste. For seasonings, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of thyme, oregano, cumin, and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Now we're just going to give it a good mix to get all those seasonings mixed in there. This is already starting to smell so good. I wish you could smell this. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, or you can also use beef bouillon. Whichever you have available works. Now we're going to mix that in there as well. I'm also going to add 4 to 5 peppercorns. Once we add our peppercorns, we're going to cover it, turn it down to low heat, and let it simmer for an hour and a half. After an hour and a half, we're going to add our carrots, cover it again, and let it simmer for another 30 minutes or until our carrots are well done. And while we're waiting for the birria to finish, we're going to prepare some homemade con tortillas. I like to prepare my own because where I live it's kind of hard to get a hold of good tortillas. When making your tacos, you want to make sure you have a nice thick tortilla that's not so flimsy. That way it doesn't fall apart when you're making your tacos. Once we're done making the tortillas, we're going to pull some of the meat from the pot. We're going to shred it, and we're going to begin to make our tacos. Before making the tacos, I like to add a little bit of vegetable oil to the skillet. I'm just going to soak the tortilla on both sides in the oil. If you prefer, you can also add a little bit of consomme instead of the oil. I'm just going to add a little bit of the cheese. I'm using mozzarella cheese, but you can also use Oaxaca or whichever other cheese you prefer. Now we're going to place some meat on there and a little bit more cheese. Now I'm just going to fold it over, and we're going to hold on to it for a little bit, just long enough to where the cheese melts a little bit. And then we're going to flip it over to the other side. And once the cheese melts, the tacos pretty much stays together. And now we're just going to pour a little bit of the consomme right over the taco, and that's going to give it that delicious flavor of birria. This smells so delicious. It's starting to smell like a taco shop in here. Now we're just going to flip it over. We're going to leave it on the skillet long enough until the cheese is melted. Now if you prefer to leave it on longer, you can, if you like it nice and toasty. But look at that, the cheese is already starting to melt. It looks so delicious. This is just about done. So we're just going to flip it over just one more time and toast it a little bit longer on the other side. These tacos are amazing when you dip them in the consomme. The consomme is the broth from the birria. So we're just going to remove a little bit of the broth and place it in a small container like this one. And now we're just going to add a little bit of the salsa macha. This salsa is oil based, and I also have a recipe for it in one of my other YouTube videos if you want to check that out. And a little bit goes a long way because this salsa is pretty spicy. We're also going to add a little bit of onion. And some cilantro. I'm also going to add a little bit of salsa to the taco. Now you can eat this with a fork, but tacos are not meant to be eaten with forks, so I'm just going to grab it with my hand and just dip it into the consomme and enjoy. The remainder of the tacos, I prepared them with cilantro and onion. I know some kids don't like onion, so we have to leave it out sometimes, but either way you prepare it, they're both delicious. And here, this one's ready. This is the one with the cilantro and the onion. Now this is just one way of enjoying this delicious dish. You can also enjoy it as a stew. Serve it in a bowl with a little bit or a lot of the consomme, some of those delicious carrots, and top it off with your favorite toppings. Here I have it with a little bit of cilantro and onion, and of course some of that salsa macha. If you give this recipe a try, let me know how you like it in the comments. This recipe takes a long time to cook, but believe me, it's well worth the wait. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give me a big thumbs up, and I'll see you another day for another recipe. Thank you so much for watching.